Okay, got the back of the guitar open, and this extremely large soldering iron has been heating up for just a minute, which is probably fine. So I got to get this solder off the back of the pot here. Let's see if this will gently melt it. I've been called a lot of things in life, but that guy who's good at soldering is not one of them. And there's a reason for that. I really don't do I don't do stuff like this. I work on a lot of stuff, cars, motorcycles, guns, ceiling fans, whatever. But I'm not good at any one thing. I'm not an expert at anything. This thing's got to be getting hot. I guess I just lay it on there. I know that pot acts like a little bit of a heat sink. Look, you're watching a boring video of someone trying to heat up solder. This is boring as hell. This is terrible. Oh, I just saw something happen. Okay. I saw some liquid. There we go. Okay. It turned to liquid. Now it's loose. Now I've got to get down to the middle terminal. I keep thinking this is like live electronics, like I'm working in a breaker panel. I'm like, don't touch anything. No, there's no electricity going on. I've got to somehow get this down to the middle terminal and not hit other things with this big fat soldering iron. And I can't see very well. It's dark in here and I can't see very well anyways. I don't know if they stick these wires through the holes, because you know there's little holes in those tabs, or if they just tap it on there and put some solder on it. I really don't know, because I don't know if once that comes loose, am I going to have to, you know, like yank it out of the hole, or is it just going to come off? It just came off. Okay, so that's not the worst thing in the world. So now that's loose. I'm going to unplug the soldering iron for a minute, because it doesn't need to be on while I feed the wires. Luckily I have a wonderful little tile area on the floor here where I can just set that soldering iron in. It won't burn anything. Okay, so now that pickup should be loose. There she goes. Okay. Put it back here. Now, where did that new pickup go? I bet it's sitting on my bed. Okay. So here's the new pickup, and be careful with this fine guitar here. So the wires on the new pickup are not quite as long as the old one. Let's see, there's a good 2 inches difference, so I won't be able to have it hanging out of the guitar. But I'm going to go ahead and try to feed this through and just use these ends as is without extending them, and I hope that works. So I'm going to have to take the strings, what am I talking about? The wires. I have to feed the wires through this hole. Let me see what's going on here. So there's a yellow wire and then the pickup wire running right through there to the other pickup. So I gotta see if I can get this all to go in the hole here. And I don't have a lot of lights in my house, so it's kind of hard to see. Oh my goodness. It doesn't feel like it wants to go at all, and I'm standing in an awkward position here. Let's see if I can stick those down that hole. without having to wrap them up with tape or something. Come on, little wires. Getting a little resistance there. That was an electrical joke. There it goes. I had to angle it down a little more. I was not poking my stuff straight. Okay, I'm going to just set this in place and then see. Oh yeah. Okay, I think I've got my wires on the back. I'm going to turn this over so you can see. So with the pickup set in place, man, those wires barely reach. That green's got to go right there, and the black and the white and red don't need to be used. They need to stay together though. That's the north and south poles or whatever. Let's see. Ooh, that's barely long enough to reach the pot. Now, I guess in theory, these are ground, and that ground connects to that pot. In theory, you could ground to this pot because they are connected, and then just put the green to the appropriate pot for volume for the bridge. And I hate to do that because it's going to look goofy, but I may do it because I know it'll work. I'm sure someone would say, well, the resistance in that wire right there is, affecting blah, 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 differently than if you had it grounded right there. I'm pretty sure it's not that big of a difference. So, but yeah, there's not enough spare wire there to put that right where I want it. It'll be easier to solder there anyway. But let me see about getting that green one. That green one definitely needs to go right on the middle terminal. And this is going to be a challenge. This is where I'm so bad at soldering, at trying to get a wire and solder and heat all in the same tiny spot. Especially when there's a bunch of stuff in the way here. Boy, that's going to be tricky. I'm not good at this. I really got to figure out how to kind of make it sit in the right spot so I can get some solder on there. And I'm going to have to plug in the soldering iron again now that I feel that I'm halfway ready to attempt this and be frustrated and cuss at it, It would have been a lot easier to, cut the wires from the old pickup and put little cramp or butt connectors, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, and by the way, I said in the first unboxing video that this thing did not say made in China or Indonesia because I was looking at the back of the headstock. But just like a souvenir from a cheap store, there's a sticker right there, made in China. That same oval cheesy sticker that, I just pulled the pickup out. Dang me. Can you believe I would do that? How reckless. Okay, start again. My goodness, what's wrong with me? I guess I should probably try to screw this thing in so it doesn't fall out like that while I'm doing this fine soldering job here. Yeah, I'm going to set this down on its back, and I'm going to go ahead and put in some wonderful little black screws to put this where it goes. And hopefully lines up with the old screw holes. So it looks like there's a little different pattern here. These screw holes are off about 1 millimeter. So I guess there must be 2 different factories in China competing over which humbucker ring pattern they're going to use. Oh, a little bit disappointing, because you'd think at least these Chinese copycats could be consistent with their parts so you can swap them out. Because surely they have not copied parts from that many sources. You know, they take a Les Paul or whatever. You know, they copy some parts, and then 10 other Chinese factories copy the parts that Chinese factory copies. I would really expect there to be more consistency, just because there seems to be this tradition of copying stuff that goes on. And you see a lot of these Chinese guitars that have just bizarre mix and match parts. And you know, you look long enough at these things, you start recognizing some of the same crappy parts used on a whole bunch of copycat guitars. Like, especially anything with a Bigsby, they just have, you know, whether it's a fake Gretsch or whatever, it's going to be that weird looking skinny Bigsby that doesn't have the logo in the bottom a lot of times. And I see that and I think, well, they must not have copied very many Bigsbys, because all these different copycat guitars seem to have the same bad copy. So that's kind of what I was hoping would happen here with the pickups, is that I'd have the same trim ring size. And I don't know why it's not, because it's just a damn humbucker, you know. All humbuckers should be the same. I know they're not. I know in the guitar world there's a lot of weird stuff and a lot of weird dimensions. And, you know, why some guitars have a 23 3/4 scale length and some have a 25.5 inch. And I don't know that these Chinese guitars are always consistent with that either. Like, you know, like a Gibson, like an ML, I think it's supposed to be 23 3/4, but I think I've seen some kits and copies that are 25.5, which is a, you know, Stratocaster scale length. Well, I hate the way these screws feel. You just can't tell if they're stripping. Like, they just don't have a good stop to them. Like, I can tell they're down, but... And unrelated, I did receive a screwdriver from Amazon today that stops at a pre-designated torque. I bought it for working on some electrical items, not guitars, but certain lugs and stuff and breaker panels need to really be torqued to a certain amount to make sure that there's contact with the wire, and I'm working on some electrical things like that, and I want to be accurate. But that just made me think about that. Okay, so this is screwed in. Got a little bit of play in it there because we've got the adjustment screws and springs. Might have to raise that, you know, once we have it put together. Okay, so now, now that that's in the hole, yeah, there's not a lot of play in the wires. I will have to unsolder it if I want to take that pickup out. Okay, once again, I want to start with the hot wire because I won't be able to reach it once I get the other wires screwed down. Now, again, I'm not sure if there's I think there's holes in these tabs. It's just really hard to see. So I'm looking at the other wires. Yeah. So I think there's solder in that hole right now. And I think if I tap it this hot soldering iron. Maybe I can get the rest of that solder out. Man, that smells. Got some interesting components in there. Man, I need something to poke it with, really. Let's see. I need to go find a needle or I need to find a what's the word? Twisty tie off bread. They've got a little wire inside. A monkey. Found a little paper clip. Yeah, I need to try to get this that yellow wires just a little bit into my workspace there. Don't touch the shiny part of the soldering iron, you will hurt your finger. I'll put this on one side. I want to see if I can scrape a little bit of solder out of there. Get it out of that hole. It looks like it may be cleared out. Put the iron down. Then try to stick the green wire. I really can't see. I need a desk lamp over here. Oh, it's going right through the hole, man. Now if I could just figure out how to make it hook that hole and get some solder on the thing. Man, I really can't see. I started wearing bifocals about 4 or 5 years ago, and they're good sometimes, but man, it really changes the way you work on stuff up close, because you got to angle your head a certain way to be able to see what you're doing. Sometimes it's just better to go by feel because you just won't get anywhere otherwise. I've got the wire hanging in there in the hole now. Now I don't know if I can get heat and solder right there without goofing it up. Jeez, I'm sweating sitting here staring too hard. I've got some lead-free electrical solder. I don't know how old this stuff is. I'm going to try to tap it on the top. Let's see. I have not properly tinned this tip. Hopefully I can touch it on there, make something happen. Well, I can't see. It looks like I might have gotten some on there. I'm going to have to take a real gentle tug on the wire. Okay, somehow that seems to have made contact. Alright, now I'm going to try to do the same thing with this ground wire now that it seems like it will reach over here. I do need to turn their red and white away. Put some tape on them eventually. Okay. I'm going to pull the black wire away because I know I'm not going to succeed trying to solder two things at once. I'm really working opposite-handed here too. I'm going to see if I can just lay this thing down on the pot. Get it to do something. Oh. Okay, I just stretched that solder that was there and it grabbed. So that's good. I'm going to do the same thing with this little bit right here. It's not a very good glob of solder, but it seems to have done something. I'm going to give it a little extra bump. All right. Well, that is a super hot soldering iron, so it just doesn't take any time at all. It does appear that they're actually on there, which is quite amazing. So now before I do anything else, well, I need to wrap that. I don't know if I should put solder on that or not. I'm scared I might burn it, which would not be cool. And of course, I can't see well enough to see if they soldered it. I don't know, it's kind of shiny. That thing may be soldered, but I am going to put tape on it because that has some current. I don't want it to touch any ground. I'm going to set this iron down. You know what? I got cats in the house. I better put that iron up somewhere before a cat steps on it. Yeah, not good to leave this around pets and children. Hotter than hell. So now the electronics are, well, I was going to say, I'll just throw a string on real quick to make sure it works, but I don't have any strings on, so it's not going to strum real well. I guess I could plug it in and see if at least the pickup makes noise. I'm sure I'm eating up all the memory on my phone just leaving this thing running, but this is live television. Okay, so I said I'm going to try to plug this in, see if we can determine if there's any function coming out of this. I don't know. I'm going to leave you right here. I'm not going to carry you over here. I'm just going to plug this in. Okay, well, I'm going to say it seems like that pickup is connected. And it seems quite microphonic too. This may be a very, very bad feedback pickup, but at least it looks cool, right? So, okay, I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna put a new set of strings on. That's gonna take a few minutes, obviously. So, I will edit in that part later.